Well, good morning, everyone. The other day, Audrey was sitting next to Brian on the couch when she said, Daddy, what is that on your leg? Brian told her it was a bruise that he had gotten from yard work the day before. Audrey was quiet for a minute and then said, That's okay. You're still my daddy. Brian and I both laughed. It's always so fascinating to see the wheels of a little child's brain work, isn't it? Audrey's comment was funny at the time, but if you think about it, there's actually quite a bit of profound truth in her statement. Audrey noticed that there was something ugly and gross on her daddy's leg, but that didn't change how she felt about him or who he was to her. You are still my daddy. How many of us look at the ways we fall short and say to ourselves, I'm no good. I'll never measure up to what God wants me to be. Or if we're being honest, how many of us think similar thoughts about someone else? They're just too far gone to ever return to God. We begin to see ourselves and others as damaged goods. This reminds me of the beautiful book of Hosea found in the Old Testament, a story of God's love towards a sinful Israel. If you never had the chance to read through Hosea, I want to encourage you to do so. I guarantee you the deep and unconditional love portrayed in this book will far outweigh any chick flick story, that love story that you've ever watched. In chapter 2 of Hosea begins to talk about the unfaithfulness of Israel, and yet God is still in heavy pursuit of his people. In verse 16 it says, In that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. You will no longer call me my master. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice, in love and compassion. I will betroth you in faithfulness, and you will acknowledge the Lord. The end of that chapter ends with saying, I will plant her for myself in the land. I will show my love to the one I called not my loved one. I will say to those called not my people, you are my people. And they will say, you are my God. In other words, despite all of your bruises and shortcomings, God's chosen you. You are his beloved. You are his. This morning, you may need to hear this for yourself. You live with such guilt and shame that you feel unworthy of God's love. Let me let you in a little secret. None of us are. We all fall short, but that doesn't stop God from pursuing us and longing for an even deeper relationship with you and I. Or maybe this morning, like me, someone comes to mind who you care and love for deeply, and you've invested quite a bit of time in. Maybe you're frustrated with the choices they're making in life. Maybe you're ready to give up on them completely, as they have been deliberately turning away from the wisdom and the love that you've shown them. In your eyes, that person has fallen short on multiple occasions and is badly bruised. Maybe this morning, you and I need to be reminded of God's endless pursuit of loving you and me and all his creation, despite the countless times we deliberately turn away from him. Maybe this morning, we all need to hear this profound truth. God sees your bruises. God sees your flaws. And yet he still looks at you and says, you are mine.